Yes, people, what's happening? And welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another edition of the Opposition Preview. Apologies, you've been absent for the last couple of weeks with these, but we're back now. Massive game, Aston Villa versus Chelsea at Villa Park. Before we dive into it, guys, just a quick shout out to Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. Link is in the description, guys. You can get 20% off your Chelsea kits using the code Blue Brother. You can get names, numbers on the back, whatever you want. Link in the description, guys. Blue Brother for 20% off your order. As you can see, I'm joined by Villa fan Luke from Up the Villa. Mate, good to catch up with you again. Surprisingly, we're ahead of you in the table at the moment. 4 points difference between the two sides. Chelsea sitting 6th, Villa sitting 9th. Obviously, earlier in the season in December, probably one of our best performances of the season. We comfortably beat you 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. Quite a lot has changed since then. Our form has taken a bit of a nosedive, and yours, I don't say it's taken a nosedive, but you're 1 win in your last 6. We're 2 wins in our last 6. How would you assess where Villa are right now? Coming to the end of February, you're 9th in the table. Is that what you were expecting? Obviously, Champions League's gone well. You're still in the FA Cup, which is a big chance to win. Are you happy with how things are going?
Yeah, I mean, fairly. I mean, I didn't expect to be, watching the round of 16 draw today, potentially looking at who we're going to play in the quarters. So in that aspect of it, it's going really well. We're in the, sort of last 16 of the FA Cup. We've got Cardiff coming up at home. So looks like we could potentially get into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So on that front, good. And, the Premier League, we've not been as good as last year. We've not been as dynamic. But like you say, we're only, a couple of points off 6th, 5th, in the mix for 4th still. But we've got to, really start getting some wins together. So collectively as a whole, I think we're doing okay. I think at the start of the season, I said if we get some form of Europe by playing in the Champions League and having a decent run at that, then I think that would be a pretty good season. But we've yet to really get going. But we are playing decent football. We've got this way of playing under Emery, and we create a lot of chances. It's not like we don't create nothing. We create loads of opportunities against Ipswich. We had a man sent off. We had 25 shots. Keeper was just absolutely insane. It was just one of them games where it just wouldn't go in the back of the net. Against Liverpool, we played really well, and towards the end, we had opportunities. They had opportunities, but we kept going. So I think we've just kind of just got to turn some of these draws into wins and just kind of get a bit of a winning run going, because we're doing okay. But like you say, when we played you at Stamford Bridge, we were blown away, to be fair. So so we've got to be better than what we were that day.
Mate, January, talk to me. Obviously, for ourselves, was fuming with us not doing anything, weakening the squad, then picking up injuries to both our strikers, Madueke out as well. Real lack of options. You boys have definitely strengthened your squad. Obviously, John Duran went out to Saudi, 75 million euros. Asensio, Rashford have come in. Obviously, you've got our boy Disasi as well. He won't be playing. Quickly on Duran. I know me and you have spoken over message and that. I was like, he just fed up of the constant talk every single window about him. Would it be fair to say that it was the right time to let him go? You happy with the price? Was it a good decision? Do you miss him?
I don't think it was the right time to let him go. I kind of felt like, more for his sake and our sake at the same time, that if he'd have waited until the summer, he could have had a clubs lining up for him. There was talk of PSG. He could have probably picked where he wanted to go. The fee could have been a bit higher, but he wanted to go. That's the big thing that came out of Villa. He wanted to leave. So the fact that he wanted to do that, they stumped up some cash and we was able to let him go. And, I've spoke to you before, and I've spoke to you on here a bit about what he was like, but, he wasn't the most patient of people that wanted to sort of nurture his career and tick those sort of like little stepping stones off to becoming like an elite player. He didn't really want to wait, so he's took the money and gone to Saudi, and I imagine we'll probably see him back in Europe in a couple of years' time. So Duran was yeah, it's just one of those where he wanted to go, so he went. But we had a remarkable window, in January to bring in Asensio, Rashford, Marlon. I know you guys call him disaster, but I'd said from day one when that rumor dropped that I saw something in him that especially in the Monaco days that he could add something to Villa. And he's been really good, to be fair. He's been great with the ball at his feet. He's been very progressive. He's winning his duels. He's just been really good for us. So he's sort of slotted into our back line because Konsa's been out really well and Rashford's playing really well, yet to get a goal. I know he's got a decent record against you guys, but he's sort of looks transformed, reinvigorated. He's tracking back, he's tackling, he's pressing, and Asensio has just been looking really bright for us in the middle as well. So we had a really good window.
Mate, talk to me about Rashford. I remember when the news was sort of circling, I sent you a message and you weren't that keen on it. He's through the door now. He's had a couple of appearances. He looks reasonably sharp. Changed your mind on it?
Definitely. I mean, when it first dropped, I was like, oh no, I don't want Rashford. And then a couple of days you start thinking, oh, what could he do for us? Like, and I kind of said that how I was looking at the whole situation is that it's all on Rashford. Like, if he wants to galvanize his career, it's on him to come here and try and do that. And he's literally done it. Like, he just little things like he looks like he's buzzing to be here. He loves. It's like he's got a good relationship with the fans. The teammates are good, and his performances are just really good. Like, he's so dynamic going forward. He's does that little nutmeg that he does, and so quick on the ground. And one of the big things I've spotted from him is that he's like his technique on how he strikes the ball. It's always so clean, so sharp, and he's just looked really good for us and such a threat. And when he gets the ball at Villa Park, everybody's just like roaring for him to drive forward. So far, so good, really.
Let's take it forward to the game. What are you expecting? Because as you said, Villa's form in the league is not great. I think it's one win in the last 6 league matches at the moment. We're 2 wins in our last 6. Both not in the best form domestically. Your home record, I don't think, is too bad. What are you expecting from this game?
I think it's a tough one because you guys need a bit of a reaction, don't you? Really, I mean, you've got to react to what's going on. Otherwise, his pressure's going to build on him, and he's going to end up getting sacked. Really, so I'm expecting you guys to play well. I know you guys might be feeling like you're going to lose, etc. But I expect you to play well. That's what generally happens when teams play Villa that are in a bit of bad form. But we've only lost 1 game at home this season, and that was our I think it was our first home game of the season against Arsenal. So we've not lost, that many games. We've drawn quite a few. But I just think from a Villa point of view, if our energy levels are where they need to be, I think we should pose you with a lot of problems, really. I think we've got players that drive with the ball. We've got a lot of cutbacks. I was watching you cutback defending against Brighton, and it wasn't the best. So, Rashford in those areas, Marlon or Asensio, etc. That they should be licking their lips with it, really. And we know how good Rodgers is driving through teams. So I just hope that from a Villa point of view, that the Villa that need to turn up do turn up, and we can end this week having beaten Chelsea and drawn to Liverpool, really. But I think it's kind of what Chelsea turn up, really. I mean, how are you feeling like what Chelsea are turning up?
Mate, not feeling great, to be honest. It's a couple of very disappointing trips to Brighton over the last couple of weeks. Last Friday was a disgrace. We didn't have a single shot on target. We offered absolutely nothing. We've got a real lack of options at the moment. We're not playing good football. Defensively, we're making mistakes. And going forward, we've got no centre forward. Cole Palmer hasn't scored in his last 5 in all competitions. And despite the money we've invested in the squad, we're still in a situation where if Palmer doesn't play well, we generally don't win. So yeah, it's problems for us. I don't know where the goals are in the team because Nkunku's not scoring, Neto, Sancho, Palmer's not scoring at the moment. There's no goals from midfield. We're not offering a threat from set pieces. I mean, look, mate, talk to me about Villa defensively. Obviously, I know Disasi's can't play this weekend. Are the problems as bad as what is being made out? Are you struggling at the back?
Yeah, we're massively struggling. I mean, we've had every team's had injuries, but Pau Torres has been out now for about 6 weeks, who's our best ball-playing centre-half. Onana, midfielder, out. Kamara, out. Barkley, out. Cash has been out. Konsa, out. You know, these are all starters for Villa that haven't been available. So Kamara's going to be out. Disasi obviously can't play. Hopefully Konsa's back from injury. That's sort of touch and go. If it's not Konsa, then it's going to be Bogard, a sort of a young lad that we've got. So we've just had like so many like defensive injuries that have just meant that I can't even tell you the last time we fielded like the same back four for about 2 games in a row because it's just someone keeps just getting injured. So our defense is not the best this season anyway, but coupled with the fact that we can't field a good defense, it just all adds up really. So yeah, the defense isn't the best. We signed a young right back from what's the team called? Anyway, his name's Garcia, and he's come from second division.
Yeah, from Levante.
Yeah, that's him. Yes, yeah. So, mate, you know more than me, but so he came from Levante, but really good. I mean, he gave the ball away to Jota, but apart from, you know, he had a real good performance against Liverpool, and he's just looked really good. So he's a new signing that we've got. So it'll probably be him or Cash. So yeah, it just depends whether Konsa's back, really.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I suppose the fact that we haven't got any goals in the team, we're looking pretty toothless going forwards. Having defensive issues against us might not be the biggest problem in the world. Just briefly, man, what have you made of Chelsea this season? Obviously, we started really well. There was talk of the title. And then really, since after Christmas, we have taken a nosedive in our form. It's 2 wins in our last 9 league games. Injuries now affecting us as well. What have you made of us?
Yeah, a bit... It's come out of the blue, really, that you're sort of like not feeling sort of like Maresca, etc. But I thought you started really well. And when I watched you against us, you just blew us away. Like, you were so dynamic going forward. And I think, you know, the situation with like your recruitment and that, and like João Felix has gone, and yeah, it's just a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Really, with some that type of player, but yeah, it just feels something just doesn't feel quite right at the minute when I'm watching you. And I thought body language was quite bad against Brighton. I think was it for their 3rd goal, and the ball gets cut out, and Palmer's got his arms in the air, and I think another one had his arms, and you're slow to react, and that doesn't sort of look like a proper team, if that makes sense. So when I did watch that game, I was thinking, God, that you do look a bit shaky here, really. But I think Maresca, is it sort of a similar sort of thing to what happened at Leicester? Because when they got promoted, second half of the season, really their fans were like not that happy with him either. So I think it's just a culmination of a bit of everything. And I think Lavia's probably a bit of a blow, like in your midfield. Like, you know, Enzo at the start of the season was probably the best version that I've seen from him. And he doesn't seem to be at that level at the minute either. And yeah, I just think I can't really put my finger on it. You know, you look at someone like Sancho that's just not quite there. Neto, he's not the Neto from Wolves, is he? And like Dewsbury Hall, not that great in midfield. Striker situation, you know, the main striker you've got's not available. The next backup, it looked like he was going to go in the summer. So I think there's more problems off field at Chelsea that probably culminating what can go on the pitch as well. That's the general vibe I get from looking in from afar. I think there's more to it than just the playing side of things.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, there is. So, having said all that, mate, then you're not worried about this game. You're feeling confident?
No, mate, because like I said earlier, what happens, you will rock up at Villa Park and turn into like prime Barcelona. And that's what happens when teams are in a bit of a, you're saying like Cole Palmer, right? Not scored in how many? He'll
5.
score against Villa, right? But it's just what happens, really. So, yeah, I can't look at teams that are in like poor form and think, oh, like, I'm confident we're going to do it. Like, you got to earn the right to win on any
Yeah.
given day. So we need to turn up and do what we can do and do it to our best level. And if we do that, then I think we can win. But we played on Wednesday, tough game. So we just need to make sure we've sort of like recovered from it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, Rashford, Asensio, Rodgers, these guys can 100% cause us a lot of problems. What do you think is going to happen then, mate? You backing your boys? You think you get something out of this? I'm not saying necessarily the win, but do you fancy getting at least a point minimum?
Yeah, I think I predicted we're going to win 3-1 on our show. So,
there we go. You got to stick with it then.
I do think we're gonna win if everything goes the way in my head. I think we can play, etc. I think you'll probably allow us to have a little bit more time on the ball than what Liverpool did. So that enables us to sort of play the way that we sort of want to play. Interestingly, I think Cucurella is quite key to this game. Whether he goes into like a midfield or he goes out on that left. Like, I think when I watched us against you guys last season, especially, we couldn't really get to grips with your system and the way that you played. So I think if tactically Emery gets it right and, we're not being done by where your players are positioned, then I think we should be all right.
Yeah, mate, I think we're going to lose. I've got to be honest. At best, we'll get a point. I just don't see where the goals are coming from. We're just not playing well. We're low on confidence. Sort of seem short of ideas. And so, I think we lose 2. I think we probably lose 2 or 3-1. We might sort of find a goal from somewhere, somehow. But yeah, I think we go down 2 or 3-1, which would be a disaster, but it wouldn't be unexpected. But yeah, I'm expecting a difficult trip. It's always a hard place to go. We're not in good form. But then having said that, we could also spring a surprise and we could be capable of pulling a result out of the bag. I remember, obviously, the FA Cup last season, we were in similarly poor form. Admittedly, there's more pressure on then. And we just pulled out a performance that no one expected. So we are capable, but I just think it's very unlikely. But it'll be interesting to see what happens anyway. But mate, thank you so much for jumping on as always. Let the people know where to find you.
Yeah, just on YouTube, type in Up the Villa Fan Channel, and that's where you'll find our stuff. We've done a match preview, so go and check it out.
Yeah, guys, make sure you do that. Be tagged in the title. Loads of great stuff over there. Please do go and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow. Match vlog from Villa Park. Might not be very enjoyable viewing, but there we go. But yeah, we'll catch you again another one soon, guys. Cheers.